like to say hello to those who will see this live and also on the replay. I prefer if some more people come in or just to see more people check the stuff out before going into it, I want to say. A lot of times when I do that, you have individuals who will ask, what's the topic about? Because apparently the option to replay just disappears. Look it up, VVS. Say hello to Envoy. Also, I mean that with no, level of disrespect, but it kills me. People don't have the willingness to just use Google. Hey, VVS, have Chad look it up for you. So I'll wait for you to look it up and report your findings to me. So let me know when you do it. No, I've realized I've had to use tricky titles to get people to express some level of thought. I can't just say she lied and I cried or anything like that. I have to put in some more comical uh, jargon in there to get individuals to understand. But it's still on topic, even if Kuwait, the country, doesn't have anything to do with the actual topic here. So in the last couple of weeks and months, I have been noticing a recurring theme where you go on these websites, whether it's Reddit or any of the dating sites that I've frequented in the past. I don't use any of them anymore, but that's only because they're a waste of time. You will see a running theme, and this is only I've tried to call myself doing playing the counter argument. So, for example, I'll go and look at male profiles just to see if there's the same level of frequency with this, and I can honestly tell you there's not. You can look this stuff up yourself if you don't believe me. Um, Many times and I've mentioned this in the past, when you go on these websites and people post these ad things about, oh, I'm looking for a friend, I'm looking for a buddy, I'm looking for this person. They will put up a section about themselves, their little points and all the things they call themselves being able to do, even though most of the time all they can do is just type on the computer and be extremely argumentative and judgmental. Um, and then they'll write out a series of bullet points for things they want you to do. And look, we all have a general preference when it comes to who our partners are, or just people we talk with. Told you I've had a very a personality type that I've noticed a plurality of people I talk with regularity tend to find themselves with. Read what old school said. Yeah, I don't. I think old school should go watch the California net neutrality vote. I was very satisfied with that. I was in a good mood that whole stream, so I'm not really sure what he's talking about. You say hello to Kylo or Kilo. I really hope Kilo doesn't get offended and write me an angry comment because I mispronounced his name. But in going on these websites and seeing the various requirements they put up, whether it's age, location, uh, line of work, your hobbies, all of these different things. It's gotten to the point where I sometimes literally just go to these sites just to laugh at how incredulous it all seems, because what I've really tried to make clear about most of this content that we've been seeing this last year um, is that you have a circumstance when it comes to dating, at least as far as the Western world is concerned, or just in this country of free will, um, where the males have to appeal in a million different ways to these women, even if it's to a very ridiculous standard. I mean, ask yourself this. Let's pretend I am these dating sites are real life, okay? And I pull out a piece of paper and I write, if you would like to get with Justin, you're going to have to be African American, Roman Catholic from California, have a blue collar job, have this level of education, be able to state your position on the Israeli Palestinian conflict. You must support free healthcare, just loads and loads of things. And if I went around, whether it's in real life or online, saying that not these are what I like, but you must adhere to these five, six, seven concepts, every single person who heard me advocate for people that I like adhering to that would either laugh or look at me with disgust. Okay, so I don't know about dating cities, Brian. I didn't even know those existed. Well, and also I tried to argue to them, um, because I've had a couple of users on these sites. They call themselves defending against whatever, I've told them, this is ridiculous. This shouldn't be the way it is. The one that didn't want to speak by phone, for example, after I talked with her by text for a month, I said, hey, this is boring. All I do is write. I'm tired of writing. She tried to make it seem as if, based off of the way I was speaking to her, this is the problem with how things are going, or why this quote unquote correspondence between me and her are is going left or something like that. And I tried to explain to her that if you were such a great conversationalist, who was well attractive to loads and loads of guys, you wouldn't be on this site with your list of demands that's longer than the requirements needed to get the Americans during the Iranian hostage crisis. You wouldn't be doing that if you were so popular with males that you knew in real life. And I'll be the first one to admit my lack of popularity with women. I don't pretend that's not a thing, but for someone to sit here on this site and post loads and loads of things uh, about what they want from you. And I picked that country as the title because I've had several who've been from other regions, or just different countries, and I always try to explain to them I don't have a problem going where you are. I just need to know that checking that place out is not going to be met with retardation from the person I'm going to see. That's like someone saying, "Oh, well, this you can buy this car, but it's in another state." Like I don't mind getting that car and importing it, but I have to know that the vehicle is not damaged, or importing it is going to be met with some level of retardation. Okay, Envoy says you're not going to be in college or high school forever. Uh, Carlos says we have to play the numbers game nowadays, even not enough in one class. Okay, I don't know what VVS is respond. I don't know if he's responding to me or something somebody else said. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm using that analogy because that's part of the reason I picked the title. Um, I guess it's more just an in general being tired of relationships, but really it's just me generally being tired of interacting with loads and loads of people online, and just trying to. I mean, I've tried to make it to where I go on other sites and organically meet a person and then talk with them and try to tell myself in the back of my head, oh, this is not someone you want romantically, at least not currently, because reasons. And then you'll find out that they have either some kind of thing where they don't want you back, or they're reluctant to do so because of something that's out of your control, like location. Um, I told you guys the story of the one I talked with for 3 months, and part of the reason I allotted so much time was because she lived somewhere relatively far away, and it cost more to go over there. But I said I had no problem doing that if I knew the person wasn't, say a load of treks. Okay. Make an account. It's so you're. I think you just posted the same message like 3 times in the last 2 minutes. Uh, yeah, old school. That thing is. That's a system I tried to use. And, you actually get criticized for just outright telling people what you want. I mean, I've outright said before what I've you know would rather have, and for whatever reason, I have these commenters who call themselves, being these online wizards. We just had a spoof of that a few days ago, where they'll write some lengthy response to something I did or some video or stream, and you respond back to it just for the person to deflect or call themselves giving casting a mirror into your soul based off of this one video or stream. And I always say, you're not. Why would you? I mean, think logically. If people who I know personally can't convince me of anything else, why would someone online just suddenly be the individual who just changes everything that I think of when it comes to how screwed up the dating circumstances? I find it funny that you have these, eh, you know, they actually think they're helping is the scariest thing. Um, but you have these people who it just seems like they will sit there, watch this, and I guess miss the whole point of what I was talking about, or you know, call themselves offering some different perspective, and then when you speak to them, they're just regurgitating one-liners. No, it's not you, old school. It's just in general. I'm getting to the point where I'm just going to close off comment sections and other ways of interacting. Cartoon, I saw that are selecting. Uh, well, Kylo, the thing is, I've known people who were, I guess, politically minded that still were able to get a partner. So, trying. Why close? Does that include? Not. It wouldn't. Maybe not the lot. The problem with the chat is that while I like the idea of people interacting, you have, like we saw a few moments ago, or minutes ago rather, a user who has never appeared before. They leave one comment. It derails the conversation a bit. Um, and I've had that happen on a couple of streams where just a user will jump on. They might say one thing, and then it all goes to whatever that person was talking about. So it's all considerable. Brian says, I'm not trying to be a wizard. Man, don't take it that way. You can't be so defensive. No one said you were. I didn't even say it was you. Okay. Uh, it wouldn't be fair to the frequent viewers. Yeah, well, one glove fits all. I mean, if I get to that point, it's mainly because I'm just tired of things in general. Um, we so often we watch someone online, we only think of that person as far as it stands with the content they're putting out. But if you factor in, worrying about jobs and education, and then uh, your safety, it can get to be a headache, especially when we're talking about actually interacting with people, and then they do something dumb, and then whether it's a person you like romantically or someone you like platonically, then having a comment uh, 5 hours later on some random stream from 2 months ago by someone talking about his lack of confidence was destroying his relationships. So it's we don't know what it's like to deal with those states of mind. I've recognized that's a seeming large number of non-content creators. Not to say they're all like that, but it's a running theme I've noticed. Yeah, there's a video that I actually saw very recently. It came out about a year ago. Um, it was called something like "Why You Can't Get with Anyone" or some kind of nonsense, and it was every stereotype you could think to yourself. And then as I became kind of annoyed by the idea that it's only happening to people who do these certain things, even though I've seen it happen to people who don't. I realized something. The person who made that wants to convince themselves more than they want to convince the rest of us um, that this is the reason for why people don't have success, because it is scary. Just like with these commentators that come on my stuff, they're not so upset at the idea of a person talking about this stuff. They're upset with the idea that someone who they don't find, off in the classical sense, like I'm getting up here and talking about how I'm sick of these, if it's guys, jerks, and if it's females, heifers. So when they see someone that just comes on there and doesn't fit whatever they think of as someone that would not be seen as desirable, they call themselves trying to pick out what about that person would cause them to not be seen as desirable. They don't want to accept the idea that if they find something okay, or if they don't find something okay, someone else wouldn't or would. Have the reverse effect basically. And moving to the grind into outdoors, living off the land, things become just too much to bear. I remember Programming said she liked me. We went over to get some food, realized we had nothing to talk about. It was awkward. Disinnovation when someone will talk, but won't have the nerve to say it in your face. Super annoying. Yeah, I told you about that one woman that I knew last year that ended up sending me all manners of evil in text, then calls me and is timid and reserved and doesn't want to speak on certain things. That's how you know people are not as I guess inclined to just lose their mind by voice. So it all goes together. But yeah, it's I really have noticed why they've done it a little bit more than maybe the last month or so, um, of just wanting things to make sense. They want to believe uh, that this person isn't with someone because he's negative, even if that person. I could do a video smiling every day for like the next 7 or 8 months and still have comments on old stuff talking about, well, because of your negativity. Someone watched one stream and they now know my whole life. No, I'm not upset with critique. It's the fact that, here's the thing. With most political discussions I have, again, actual discussions, not, oh, I'm going to put out a stream and then somebody leaves a comment where they lose their mind. The person will acknowledge whatever fact I bring up and will agree to disagree and will keep it moving. It doesn't turn into me talking about, oh, that guy is, disgusting because he has read. None of that. It is done in a way that is actually benefiting to both sides, because you have people who accept the fact that someone is not like them or like how they would like, and move on. But before moving on, they will talk to that person and state what they prefer. Trek says cognitive dissonance kicks in ever whenever someone can't illustrate a counter argument to another argument that is logically greater. Envoy says people are going to critique you now at the age of 30, 40, 50. Yeah, if I make it to 50, it'll be a miracle. Um, but to continue what I was saying, you have people who've actually, it feels like, made a career out of just like being commenters on stuff. And, I kind of get to a point where I get tired of it a little bit. Um, and more often than not, I just stop responding. And it saddens me to do that, because I like to believe, just like when you have those commenters who jump in there and ask a question that has nothing to do with the stream, that people have decent intentions, but it is so quickly overridden by lunacy. I mean, imagine having a user who sees a video is uploaded in February, okay, February of, whatever year, and they're commenting on October or November that same year, or even a year later, February of the next year, its anniversary, and they say, oh, if you didn't have this amount of hair on you, then you would be able to acquire a woman. If you weren't, I'll never get over the user who said, you wear something, like, was trying to criticize my clothing. I said, wait a second, you can only see the shirt I have on. Are you serious? What are you, homosexual? You want me to take this off and and, and just do streams with me, bare chest? No, it's guys doing that, not big. Oh, okay. Trex is saying women are the biggest political correctors. No, it was males doing that. Really weird. Okay, the music fiend says, I think what trying to touch on is constructive criticism. People want to defame rather than to engage and challenge ideas in an honest fashion. Yeah, but they could. What I don't like is that they can never just concede someone's point. For example, I had a user who, I mean, that's one of the quickest anyone subscribed and gotten removed. He was writing paragraphs about, uh, you need to do this, you need to do that, and I go, hey, I did this, did that. He goes, are you sure? That's not now, that makes me not want to speak to you because if I'm going to tell you what I experienced, and you have no way to disprove what I'm telling you, um, other than the fact it doesn't fit your narrative, then what else? Why would I want to engage you any further? I mean, imagine, for example, Envoy or anybody else in here. You go into a job interview and you pull out um, your papers from when you graduated from high school. This is your diploma, and the guy who's interviewing you says, "Okay, you said you got out of middle school," and you go, "Yeah, I got out of high school too." Are you sure? And posers hide behind the screen, move out, get off the grind. Couldn't have better myself. I think I'm missing something on here. Some other comment. I just had I can't do a stream seemingly without. Uh, oh, here we go again. Anyways, part of the dissonance with having a running theme of just people going and writing these comments is that, like I said before, they call themselves making suggestions and arguments and all kind of other little you know oh, I recognize that, Brian, but it is what it is. um I don't see what the purpose behind it would really be, because like I said, if someone who has known me my entire life cannot sway my position, which has only been formed after having experiences that prepped one's position to become what is mine, which is this kind of like disillusioned view on how people act. Um, why would a random commenter online or in any other capacity change that? I could see if it was someone I spoke with online for maybe 2 3 years, but just, oh, I saw this stream, let me leave a paragraph. My opinion. What is that going to do? I just don't get the effectiveness of it. And I wish the people who are commenting would understand where one would consider that as well. What's even more funny is that if you go and watch any of these news groups or commentators on most other places, when they talk about misogynistic behavior, it's like, yeah, it's misogynistic to say all women do this, which is I've tried to actually not do, um, but it's never going to change the fact that people's positions come from experience. No one just wakes up and says, "Oh, I'm sexist now." If a guy gets turned down 50 times after going on dating websites, going in person, watching, various advice videos, and then doing his own thing, he's not going to have a positive view of the people who kept doing the same thing, even if he acknowledges it's different people, because he's going to say to himself, "For as different as all of you claim to be, it was the same result." Too many people talk. Brian's advocating for no dating websites. Trek says when someone says there's numerous there for guys who hasn't had luck, just equates to that with the exploration of finding aliens. Uh, Old school says I feel that things are natural because they are meant to be. Be open to what life has to offer. We cannot know the future. Focus on other things. Yeah, people have been singing that song for years. That's like if I just go up to anybody that's part of, I don't know, any group whatsoever and go, hey, you guys want to have your group on television? Just keep singing, sitting in your house, singing your music. don't go out and seek publicity. Don't headline any tour. Just keep sitting at home. It'll just happen naturally. So I have a kind of cynical view on that as well. So much in the why would you go? I don't. That period is over. Now I recognize the scam that was being played on that and also all these other. And I never want any of the ones that actually tell people, oh yeah, if you just go here, it'll change. Like the ones you see on television playing those ads. Don't bother. So my favorite comment from the stream was VBS with "What's a Kuwait?" and Kylo admitting that he can't pronounce his own name, which is I don't know either. See, Envoy says, I see your point. You can't force people to date you. So in the meantime, outside and then revisit that part of your life later. No, I've said the same thing about what accept the things you cannot change. Difference is that if I go out and do these other things, which are pretty, I don't want to say grandiose, but they are of a portion, that I don't necessarily think a lot of us are doing. I'm not going to want any of these people. I think what really needs to be understood here is that I've noticed a running theme where the more and more something is denied to me, the less I want it. So, for example, I've told the story before when I was in ninth, 10th grade of trying to talk to loads of kids I was in school with and going, oh man, I really want to speak with these, various people, and I really hope people will talk with me. And after, being ignored and given fake numbers and all the other nonsense, I was fine just sitting alone or talking on the phone with one or two people during the week that went to different schools and in most cases didn't see me physically for months if not a year. I didn't care anymore. Yeah, Envoy, they use blanket statements all the time. It is what it is. So we both know the cycle. Okay, Trek says Western Hemisphere is the embodiment of pottering or pandering. Uh, Women in Westerns are conditioned to condemn promiscuity if men are the perpetuating in it, so therefore women can date multiple men. Sounds about right. Uh, who wants? Yeah, Envoy, don't bother. Accept the things you cannot change. If the person doesn't want to hear out what you have to say, just leave them alone. And again, whenever someone makes the blanket statements, they usually are aware of its generalizations. That if the actual group they were talking about heard, they'd be offended. So. Oh, and then this other comment from VVS dating sites are straight Comedy Central. That was amusing as well. And then O'Donohue is the 11th hour ranger coming all the way at the end. The envoy says, I see nothing wrong with dating sites or apps. I don't even know what this conversation in here is anymore. It's upload a lot when you're, well, you can always, watch it when you're not at work. There's an idea. Oh, I'm gonna do you, hey, O'Donohue. I'm gonna do you like like those dating websites. Please send me a private message detailing your work schedule so I can work around it. Actually, what they'll do is they will just say, send me whatever your job is, and then hope I'm okay with it. So pray after sending that message. Okay, I don't know what old school is laughing about. or what Friendly Man was laughing about. They'll have to notify me. Yeah. I don't know who Wayne's talking to either. Anyways, if he's speaking to me, that was the same position I had with the guys I mostly talk to have the same problem. I didn't think either any of them were ugly nor stupid, and yet we all found ourselves still in that same bubble. Oh, and you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, it's because he talks about it online. That's why this is happening," but they don't. They have the same circumstance. So, well, Donahue says he filmed a masterpiece of him cutting all of his stuff off. No, really, the main thing that gets me to kind of never really buy into most of the stuff because see, for all the critiques that are made of me, the people I speak with are generally private. They don't do most of the activities I take part in. They're not making streams or videos about this stuff. They don't talk about it openly. So when they have a similar issue, I know it's not just my characteristics because they typically avoid the ones I'm into or have. And it's the most aggravating thing in the world to see males with whom you think are worth a damn, both physically and mentally, be treated like second class citizens to, let's face it, a bunch of young heifers who would probably open their legs to, a guy that doesn't have a dollar in his pocket in one of these impoverished neighborhoods because he looks cute. So I've faced more because I conceded to myself a while ago. All right, whatever. What you have is just not desirable to a at least a very like 98% of women. I just conceded that a while ago. I lived with it, got over it. Um, at least as far as trying to argue against this and going, maybe if I just go and watch this thing, I will suddenly be seen as much more likable, and this will make me much desirable. I gave up on that. But I never got over being a sore loser who was now more upset about how people he liked was being treated than himself. Cowboy said, I don't use dating websites that many people know. You guys must have misconstrued my view. There's tons of people who meet via these apps under popular sort of sex dating apps. Uh, referring to Tinder, yeah. Oh, Wales write anything or is that it? How about those escort things and they can it's very off topic, O'Donohue. I expected better from you. And again, I've tried to clarify that if I was just seeking sex, this would have been over a long time ago. But again, people don't want to accept that there's actual individuals out there that want somebody for more than what's in between their legs. I know that's a crazy concept now, but it is what it is. Pay for companionship or dates. Uh, it's hard to get when there are services where you can pay a company to you at dates or at your home. Okay, what else is being written? People are writing all kind of things now. Trek says feminism is promptly absurd. Women can't victimize themselves. Spew the cliche. See what you did? I can't even finish reading it. You cut it off. I just think it's really disturbing how if you watch a lot of these commentators, who call themselves addressing the issue of it just being really hard now to get with someone. Um, they don't want they want to again paint it as if it's just people who fit a certain type of characteristic, and I've tried to say before it's not. Um, for the purpose of explaining that when you have loads and loads of guys that frequent my content that leave comments either in favor of what I'm saying or at least acknowledging there being some level of rationale in there. Do you really believe every one of those guys just the same supposed basement dwelling, quote unquote overweight? It doesn't make sense to think that way. But for whatever reason, you have both this group that exists on television and also online that has that mentality, and I don't understand it. Don't lower themselves to hook up. Uh, let's see. Trek says has prompted the notion that the idea can't victimize themselves. I just think they're wasting a lot of people's time and annoying many individuals. And when you speak out about that, there's supposedly a problem. But I can guarantee you, if I were female and I was on there talking about the hells of men, I would get nothing but people, both male and female, conceding my points. So it's nice to know that monolithic thought isn't applied with one gender over the other. That's a very satisfiable way of being allowed to understand things. So if anyone else writes anything, I'll check it out. Yeah, it's really sad to be rendered into a state because if I did not see that movie. I don't know what that movie has to do with anything friendly, man. People come in here asking, "Did you see that movie? Did you buy this?" So no. Also, I can't talk about films of that nature, or else I won't be able. We call it if I like it, it's because of nostalgia. If I don't like it, it's because of nostalgia. I can't win, so I have no opinion on that film I haven't seen. I can't wait to do that video about the supposed mental deficit that this guy tried to tell me I had from not liking a movie. Okay, he's asking Brian why he has such a distaste for them. Uh, see what else is being written here. Okay, so it's pretty quiet now. Brian doesn't want to respond to Envoy. He's gone to bed. He left his computer on. We haven't seen VVS for a while because he's taking care of his son. Um, but yeah, that title was meant to speak on the idea that if you have someone who lives in a different, I cannot tell you how many times I spoke with a woman just for her to tell me, well, because you live over there, I don't think this will work. And then you talk about how dumb that was online, and you get called negative. Like I'm the one who's negative for saying I don't care where you live, but then she's not for making that the supposed nail in the coffin for why nothing could work after just sitting here and giving you some speech praising all the things she likes about you, which I can chalk to being a bunch of lies. No, I did not see that movie either. Friendly man. They don't put up with. Again, Envoy, like I've tried to say, I've realized in the last 2 years that not even the last 2 years, just more so the platonic one the last 4 years, but the romantic one in the last three or two, where just relationships in general can be a headache. The more people you know cause the more people you're friendly with cause the more issues. It'd be different if we're coworkers or something. We only speak about some project or assignment. But if you just sit there and try to talk to them and get to know them, and they will write you some of the nastiest, most mean spirited stuff ever. I had a woman, for example, um, who I spoke with, I think over a year ago, and then she contacts me at the start of this year, and I get tired of her not responding back to my text. It's a person I don't want anything to do with romantically, mind you. Just because of the way I've seen her act or about things, she doesn't attract me. Physically attractive though, a conciliatory remark on my part. So um, I speak with her almost daily for about maybe 2, 3 weeks, and she's talking about how she's so depressed over life and she can't get excited about anything and yada yada yada. Like, oh, that's so horrible, and I try to interact with her, give her the time of day. And I ask her, so have these discussions? This is after a month. Done anything for you? She goes, no, but I appreciate the effort. I said, okay, well, if talking to me does nothing for you, why the hell would you keep engaging in it? That's like if I went to Burger King or McDonald's and I said, eating your food, I'm going to keep buying it, but it doesn't do anything for me. I don't get full off it. Why would you eat food you don't get full from? Why would you talk with people that you derive no level of joy, no level of happiness from talking with? It's a fool's run to even say that's okay or something that you actually do. So I left her alone after that. I was done. Again, I can take my efforts where they are appreciated. That's why I have that small group of cohorts that I interact with, because I don't have any of them trying to make it seem as if you're awful for giving them the time of day or showing them any attention. So I'm satisfied by this conversation that's still going on here. Everybody has their mic off or something? They just come in here to congregate and argue back and forth and call people, you know, remarks and names. I mean, you guys are literally discussing some other topic, and I'm again trying to have a discussion with viewers, and none of them are really. Wow. Uh, Trex, Brian, friendly man, old school, maybe even Envoy in this case, and that's rare. If I do a stream where there's no comments allowed, don't be surprised. This will be the catalyst for that. So I'll just sit here and watch the conversation on whatever the other thing was continue. I'll let that persist. We might even just make it to where I'll just have a black screen. I'll tell people just, you know what? Because I know the way these streams are structured. I'll just point my hand right here because I know that the comments by the users who participate will be on this side. Just point like this. So no more speech for me. Let's just read our comments. Have to turn this into a statue. What's not fun, old school? What isn't entertaining? Pay no attention to the person who is speaking for the first 40 minutes. Well, I can't answer that question, Brian. You have to get back to that dialogue that was going on in the chat room. Yeah. Matter of fact, where's that sound effect? Oh, you want to talk about some crickets? Yeah, that'll just be the rest of the stream. Oh, you guys can have a dialogue, so let's let the chat in there go continue. Hey, that's why we have the music tracks, or the sound effects rather. So, like I said, I was really hoping to speak about things and have the chat group, or rather the chat room, talk in reference to those things. My mistake. So if we ever get to the point where we have people just come in here and have a dialogue about something that's not having to do with what I'm speaking on, we can. I'm more than willing to just cut this chat off too, or just do regular videos where I just upload it and there it is. It's not worth the time to have a platform you've tried to create to allow people to speak on a subject be hijacked by positions and views that are not having to do with whatever the topic at hand is. And I've never been able to sympathize with the people who do this because I don't do it myself. I don't go into other people's chats and start asking about the Cold War when they're talking about being frustrated with dating. I don't go on to people's chats talking about something dumb that Trump's doing and complain about the Dow Jones. It's not none of it's relevant to the other topic. So, like I said, uh, if we have to get to that point, we'll just get to that point. My level of patience has wore thin. It's not about code of conduct. It's just basic ways in which things are supposed to be done. If someone makes a chat and they have a subject that people were speaking about before, and then this comment section segues into something else, why bother with them? So I would hope that the people who engaged in this will be able to rectify the issue. I don't expect it. It is what it is. In trying to um, discuss these things, it was designed with the intent of having people not, deter to something else. If I'm talking about being annoyed with the current climate of relationships, I'm not going to say, "Oh, I don't like what you have to say," and your mother was a prostitute back in the '90s. No one I wouldn't allow that to happen in my chat, for example. But if people like that kind of stuff, where they just start going in all kind of other territory, um, I don't have to engage with it. Look, I expect that from the those random page crashers, but you were talking about people that I've seen in the chat over and over again. just out of nowhere, keep remaining on this one subject. So maybe tomorrow I'll just upload and do that from this point onward. Saw this stuff with regularity, knew how to do. My mistake.